There were times that I've been quite candid about where he greatly disappointed me. And frankly, angered me.
Are you friends with Joe Biden?
Yes.
Is the relationship good?
It's a good relationship. I just talked to him 2 days ago. He called me for my birthday.
Is it complicated?
Yes, it's very complicated. There were times that I've been quite candid about where he greatly disappointed me. And frankly, angered me.
Can you give me context on that, where he disappointed and angered you?
On the day of the debate, my debate with Trump, I'm in the hotel room with Doug, with my husband, and the president calls, and I was told that he wanted to call me so that I'd be ready, and I was so sure it was to buck me up and go get him. And he did say that for the first beat. And then he went on to talk about a group of people in Pennsylvania who were saying bad things about me because they heard I was saying bad things about him. And when I hung up the phone, it was unbelievable. And I was angry.
Is it a coincidence that these presidents, all these government officials, all seem like they're more worried about their legacy than anything? I mean, I don't really see a lot of presidents running for office with necessarily the people in mind. Donald Trump is building a ballroom right now. A $300 million ballroom, and state assistance is about to be cut off next month. So I'm not really surprised that Joe Biden would call her and say whatever he had to get out of the way, like, yeah, have a good debate, but then yeah, let's talk about me though and my legacy. That's not surprising to me at all. They're all the same.
And deeply disappointed. It was so unnecessary. And you know what it's like. It's going into a debate with the stakes being that high, and Trump hadn't agreed to another debate. The stakes were so high. So that's an example of what I mean.
If someone called me in the lead up to debate prep and said something like that to me, I would assume that they don't want the best for me.
My takeaway is his motivation was all about himself.
That's what I would assume from that.
Yeah.
I would assume that.
Yeah, right. Obviously, right. Yeah.
She's no different than him. They are all about themselves. All of them. Every president, every politician, they are all about themselves. It's funny that she would even say that, because there's been certain instances where rather than do what's right for the people, she does whatever is against Trump. Her hate for Trump is more important than you. Watch.
It wasn't about my performance at the debate.
Podcasting, there was lots of conversation around you going on Joe Rogan's show.
And there was a lot of games being played. But I wanted to do Joe Rogan's show. I think podcasting is a very powerful medium for people to get information. And to your point, a lot of people, that is a main source of information.
Joe says you wanted him to come to you, which is very un-Joe-like.
I haven't even seen Joe Rogan. Other than the UFC event, I haven't seen Joe Rogan outside of his podcast studio in 10 years. So why would Kamala Harris think that Joe Rogan would ever come to her? I mean, you basically made it impossible for that to happen. And how do you not know how important that is? A 13-year-old knows how important it is to go on Joe Rogan's podcast when you're in the run for the presidency. Anybody knows that. There has to be a reason why she decided against that. And no matter what she says, it doesn't make sense. Something that she knows that she's not telling us.
If he doesn't really travel. In hindsight, do you wish you'd gone and done the show for 3 hours at his studio? In hindsight.
I mean, really, it just would be what were we giving up? I wanted to do his show. And a lot of people advised me not to do his show because they assumed, as it turned out to be correct, that he was supporting Trump and that it would not be a productive piece.
She's not going to admit that was a mistake. That's all you have to say. Any idiot in the world knows that was a mistake. We don't really care about your explanation. It was a mistake. Everybody knows. He's only asking because he knows it was a mistake. He wants to hear you say it.
But just like when I went on Fox News with Bret Baier, my perspective was they may have their bias, but there are people that listen who are open-minded, and I'm going to go there and give them a chance to get to know me and give me a chance to make my case to them. So that was my perspective on Joe Rogan, just like it was my perspective on Fox. There was a lot of games being played around the scheduling, and it didn't happen. And, I don't have anything against, certainly not against the people who turn on to Joe Rogan and would love to be able to talk with him in a direct manner, as I wanted to during the campaign.
do you, in hindsight, wish you'd just put your foot down and said, I'm going to go
Just
do it?
answer the question, lady.
I don't know if it would have made a difference. I mean, I talk about in the book, for example, I think it was a mistake to not invite Elon Musk when we had, and I'm no fan of his, but I admire his work as an innovator, and as you know, what he has done in terms of American manufacturing of electric vehicles. We should have had him at the White House when we had all the other electric vehicle.
So you had a bunch of people who in America make electric vehicles, whatever, come to the White House, and you didn't invite Elon Musk because you're not a fan of his. Is that not the stupidest sentence? Like, that is the dumbest shit especially with her being the vice president and running for the presidency. There's no way that she's telling me, oh, my team advised me against it. Who gives a shit what? Who cares what they're talking about? Are they stupid? I can't even name anybody else that creates electric vehicles. What?
American electric vehicle manufacturers, right?
I think this is part of the problem. When I read that, I was really happy to read that, because you can disagree with someone in part, but still have the nuance to be able to acknowledge this part's good. But if you just shut them out because of one thing, then you really drive division.
There has to be some benefit to driving division, which we've all realized that in the last couple of years, is that it's far more important what party you're a part of rather than what ideas you have and what ideas you follow or disagree with. Right now, it's all about what party you support. And these people are driving that. They're driving this separation. And she's explaining this herself.
The motivation has to be what is for the greater good, and have the ability to put aside, you know, those things that may fall in the context of being more personal.
She should have known that. I mean, I knew that in middle school. If I was running for the president of my class, I probably shouldn't run based off of how much I hate the other person. I should probably just run based off of what benefits, you know, the class. You just found that out it took you running for president and losing to realize, maybe I shouldn't involve my personal grudges in me running the greatest country ever, the richest country ever. You know, maybe I should set aside my differences with the richest man in the world who creates electric vehicles. I should set that aside and try to do what's best for people. You just realize that. Wow.
I think we should reduce voting age to 16. I'll tell you why.
Another coincidence. It's a rumor that Democrats, especially Kamala Harris, want to allow more immigrants into the country because they're going to vote Democrat. That's just kind of a rumor, you know. Let them all in the country. Hopefully they get their citizenship. And when they do, they're most likely going to vote Democrat, especially with the way that Trump is on their heels about this whole immigrant situation. So is it not a coincidence that she would say, actually, let's let 16-year-olds vote too? Isn't that along the same line of thinking? Let's let more immigrants into the country because they'll vote Democrat. Let's let 16-year-olds vote because they'll probably vote Democrat. So back to the beginning, it's all about legacy. It's not about what's more beneficial. I would assume that it would be more beneficial for more people to vote, period. Not add younger people that are probably not as knowledgeable about what's important in America. But if they're going to vote Democrat and she's going to win, then fuck it. That's a good idea. Let's run with that. Let's let more immigrants and let's let more 16-year-olds. That's actually what America needs, right? More 16-year-olds and more immigrants.
So Gen Z.
That is crazy.
They're aged about 13 through 27. They've only known the climate crisis. They missed substantial parts of their education because of the pandemic. If they're in high school or college, especially in college, it is very likely that whatever they've chosen as their major for study may not result in an affordable wage. They've coined the term climate anxiety to describe fear of not only being able to buy a home, but that fear will be wiped out by extreme weather, but fear of having children. It is expected that Gen Z will have 10 to 12 jobs in their lifetime. They are a larger number than boomers. They're a specific generation of people who are going to impact our nation and the world. And I think we must invest in them, but I think that they are rightly impatient with a lot of what is the tradition of leadership right now. And if they were able to vote, because they know everything that's happening right now is going to impact them more than anybody older than them, for the most part, in terms of how these systems work. If they're voting right now at 16 and up, They're going to be talking about the importance of climate. They're going to be talking about the importance.
That's not necessarily true. My son is 16, and I think I know better than him how his future is going to be. And I don't even think that's a question. I don't think that he knows better than me how he's going to be impacted in the future. I don't think that. I don't even think he cares about that at all. And he's 16. So I don't know. Like, follow, subscribe, whatever. Put your thoughts in the comments.